What's up?
Welcome to Tales Tomorrow, where we're doing something. I don't know. I just kind of got dragged into this. What are we doing?
I am pulling Mary away from her busy life of doing whatever fun thing she was doing. I pried her from the mortal coil that was her entertainment in order to do this little video. Hello, my name is Tales Tomorrow, and we're going to be reading my DM laid out the 44 rules for D&D. Because I saw XP to level 3 do this, and while I might not be as great and handsome XP to level 3, I do want to read this specific thing because apparently it's supposed to be the 44 absurd rules. Apparently made its rounds on the internet, and it's basically one of the most absurd things you could ever read. Why don't I have Mary join me against her will to read these 44 rules for D&D and maybe learn or laugh, maybe even cry, maybe feel something along the way.
Ready as I'll ever be.
By the way, this post has been deleted and it no longer exists, but I found some screenshots off of Twitter and that's what I'm using today. Good luck finding this post for yourself if you want to read it for the funny, but let's begin. My DM just posted this after a hiatus. Enjoy. I'll just put crap out now that is going to change before anyone goes through with anything. Rule number 1. I'm timing turns. I don't give a frick if it's unfair in your opinion because your spells are hard or you don't know what square to move to. You get 1 minute to know all the actions you want to take or I skip your turn.
What if it's a new player though?
You know, actually, funny enough, remember our RPG horror story? The Lord DM was very adamant about setting timers for people.
Oh, yeah.
And some of our players in our server have confided to me that they found that extremely anxiety-inducing. And they're happy that we're not running this. But of course we're not going to run this because D&D is hard and not everybody plays the game every single day and knows it in or out. Some players only have a weekend or two every other week to play and they're not going to be able to remember everything they do. I myself run my enemies and NPCs super fast because while I may know exactly what I want the enemies to do, I want players to take their sweet time. There's so many abilities that you will remember and it's going to get even more and more as you level up, and especially if you're playing a caster. God forbid, of all the spell points and spell slots you can be spending on all kinds of spells, yeah, that's perfectly fine to take more than a minute. Unless you want to play with somebody that's like hella hardcore about D&D and knows it in or out and every single thing, that feels too much in my opinion.
Didn't like that with our old campaign because like I just always felt rushed, especially when I first started playing. I was just so scared that I'll mess something up or like I wouldn't be able to, because I liked planning ahead, but then I would worry more because I was like, oh, what if I do something wrong? It just made me panic and stress out more, and having anxiety just makes it worse because then it's going to build up the more and more it is.
If you want your players to go fast, encourage them through knowledge and understanding and explain to them what kind of options they have. Don't force timers or skip people's turns if, God forbid, they don't say the turns fast enough. Number 2, if you want harder fights, bring a second character sheet and expect to twiddle your thumbs when you die. I'm not going to baby anyone.
Wow.
That just feels like somebody is basically like, oh, you want tougher combat? Well, fine then. I'm gonna give you tougher combat, and you better have a second character sheet because I didn't do takesy backsies if you decide to die from the harder combat. Or just take about 10 minutes out of your day to just ponder about action economy, or adding an extra enemy, or changing some of the mechanics. Number 3. If you call me or my roles unfair, I'll get up and go home. If you gotta ride with me, you can find your own way back and suck it up. Mary! Mary, I'm gonna die.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna die. Mary, if you ever say my role's unfair, I'm going home. I'm just leaving.
Never leave your home.
Oh yeah, you're right. I guess I'll just turn off my computer or go to bed and fall asleep or something. I don't know. It feels like it's written by somebody who just got so fed up with feedback and criticism. They're just like, you know what? These are my rules. It's my way or the highway, bucko. Number 4. I'm gonna take your character's loot away as regularly as you want it given out. Rule 3 will apply here. Good lord. Imagine, if you will, you receive a staff of flying in your last session. And this guy's like, you know what? I feel like taking it away. No more staff of flying for you. If your loot can just be removed from you at a moment's notice on a whim, pray tell, then what's the point of even having loot if it just can be taken away from you just like that? 5. If you don't act out any of your persuasion or intimidation or any other social checks, you fail before you even roll. You fail immediately because you aren't even trying and you're making the game lame for everyone else. I can't say he is right. There are parts where he's not really wrong.
If you don't act out any of your persuasions, I understand them rolling, but if they don't RP it, kind of feels off because some people aren't really into RP much. I understand if he wants it to be like into it, he wants the RP, he wants the immersiveness, but some people like D&D but aren't really good with acting it out. I love RPing, but I'm also bad at it, so it's like that's why I don't RP much to the stuff that happens, and I usually am just acting as myself.
As long as you put an effort into your persuasion or intimidation or deception or something, you know, put on some sort of a show on it, just for fun, you know, nobody's expected to be an actor or improv expert or anything of the like or be able to do voices. But as long as you put a little bit of effort and enthusiasm as much as you can and have fun with it, I think it's fine, right? As long as people are having fun at the table, then put in whatever passion that you want into it or whatever effort that you want. 6. If you don't pick up cues for side quests, that's not my problem. Get over yourself. It's not a video game. It's a role-playing pen and paper based game with miniatures. I'm not holding your hand if you choose not to pursue it. Not everybody's going to be a note taker. And yeah, I understand it's important to take notes and I encourage it. Not everybody's going to be able to get the cues that you think are clear. If you know the cues are very clear and apparent, that's one thing. But if somebody's not picking up on your cues for side quests, maybe you should start to think, are you giving up the right cues first? If you expect players to intuitively understand the little tiny signals you're giving away as being something or nothing, then it's gonna be a lot of miscommunication.
I do agree that it's not a video game, because I know a few of our friends who joined our campaign at the beginning when they first started. They were treating it as like kind of like a video game. We're just in it to like for the levels and stuff like that, which I can understand. It's fun taking others into consideration. They just constantly want to do stuff like to level up and like get OP items and stuff, even though they just started and it's supposed to be like a fun RP thing with friends. I get the fun of it and like wanting to level up the character and stuff, but it's more fun when you're like acting with people. Don't go running off by yourself hoping to get stuff just for you, you know. But I think I kind of understand the gist of like it's not a game. It is a game, but not a video game.
Video games make it extremely apparent that something here is a side quest. It flashes a big yellow exclamation point or other systems and stuff. I play Final Fantasy. I see how they make it very apparent. Which is why DMs should honestly take this advice to heart and understand that D&D is not a video game. You need to be clear and communicate to your players. You should probably take your own advice and get over yourself. A little scathing, but you need a little bit of spice. You need a little bit of a kick.
The spice.
7. If you move to a square in combat, there's no takebacks. What if I made a mistake? What if I didn't mean to go there? What if I moved there not realizing that it's a gap in the floor and I didn't mean to go there? Or mistakes happen, DM.
Or there's a place you can go to that gives you advantage and you're like, can I go there instead because I got to, and if they say no, I would be so pissed. If someone moves and I see a space that's an advantage, I will let them know. So you by the way, you can move there, but if you want to, because it is advantage over there. And they're like, oh, is that all right? I'm like, yeah, go for it. Like, I don't like,
DM forgot that players are on the same team. A DM is also a player. We're all playing together, not against each other.
Exactly.
8. You tell every single person what you're doing before you do it. You don't freaking roll dice and then say you're casting fireball. You tell us. Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I agree. While I don't agree with the harshness of the language, I will give a pointer that D&D and any TTRPG really requires communication. Communicating to your DM the intention you're doing is going to help the DM to facilitate what kind of cool stuff you're doing. I'd love it when a player communicates to me on what they're trying to do, in case I can set them up for some sort of a win, or like doing extra damage, or be able to knock somebody over, or knock an enemy out, you know, set them up for a really cool moment. But if a player doesn't communicate, they just kind of roll the thing and then move on to the next turn, it makes it a little bit difficult to communicate. 9. I will give out exhaustion more frequently. If you argue, go home, or you can actually fight me over it, or if you can DM yourself. Like, physically fight over it? Or like, do we gotta get in fistfights over exhaustion now?
I mean, that would make it IRL exhaustion.
Yeah, it's gonna be physically exhausted at that point. You just wear each other out. 10. Every snide comment you make to an NPC will be remembered and paid back in triplicate. You all seem to believe there is little consequence. This gives me telltale vibes, like, this character will remember that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, listen, players sometimes may be snarky to your NPCs, but don't take it personally. It's not about them. I get if they wrong somebody, and obviously actions should have consequences, but to take it so personally that everything will be remembered and paid back in triplicate, I don't know. I feel like if you have everybody be snarky to your NPCs, maybe you don't make any NPCs that people really like or really want to get along with. Maybe you should consider rewriting some of your NPCs to be nice or likable. 11. You will not be given a mega dungeon every session. A temple is not the size of a small city, neither is a cave. This crap will happen when it's natural and organic. Go play some roguelike if you want that. Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, not every combat is going to be some sort of a big dungeon crawl. Sometimes it's a little skirmish. I mean, most of our combat sometimes are just a small skirmish in closed environment or an open space or in a field or something. Sometimes just a small encounter in the woods. Sometimes it's Mary sending her horde of dinosaurs in the middle of the jungle to kill you. Fun. 12. The travel portion is done. You want to travel continents, doing literally whatever you want, whenever you want. Go play World of Warcraft or play D&D with ChatGPT. I'm guessing they mean that traveling, they just skip. You just suddenly appear in the other place and there's no in-between travel. I don't know. I kind of like the way we do travel. We like let players plan out how they're gonna travel, if they're gonna use mounts and stuff. Do they have enough rations? Are they gonna be looking for food midway? Random encounters along the way. Depends on where they're going.
Plus, they get to choose which way to go, like which way to travel.
If you're not good at travel, like RP or travel portions of your game, like, I mean, I understand if like maybe you want to skip that, or maybe ask players if they want to just like, you know, fast track that sort of thing. I don't know. I feel like it's the DM basically saying, hey, I just don't like travel. Which, I mean, I guess it's valid, but this guy sounds so hurt over it. 13. If you're late with no good reason, I'm going to halve your character hit points for the entire session. Oh my god. God forbid he gets stuck in traffic with his DM. DM, listen, sorry, the traffic just sucked half hit points. Okay, fine, I guess. If the DM is late, like, can we halve the DM's hit points or the enemy hit points? Is that because that'd be the only thing that's fair.
Sorry, Mr. DM, I got a banana stuck up my ass and I had to go to the hospital.
Half HP.
Mary,
yeah?
Why do you have banana in your ass?
Who said it was mine?
Oh, okay, why do you have a banana in your ass?
Did I say my ass?
Yes, he said I have a banana stuck in my ass.
Oh,
is it your ass? Wait, whose ass is it?
Who's
Oh,
I don't know what
it is. That
might need to check.
14. If you don't show up for no good reason, and that will be determined by me alone if no one else has the guts to say crap for fear of upsetting one another. The first time you'll find yourself losing either a whole level or up to 3 major items of your own. The second time you do it in a row, you'll be removed from the chat and the group full stop. I have no freaking time for people to not show up.
I wonder how many campaigns this person's been in, because it sounds like
I don't know.
Like they've been tortured.
I have no idea. Like, yeah, I know it sucks if, let's say, for example, somebody said they're gonna be there, but they don't even like respond or ghost you and stuff. And yeah, that sucks. But you don't make a situation better, like saying, if you do this, you expect it to show up at all times. If you don't show up and I deem it not good enough a reason for you not to show up, right? Then the DM being the only arbiter and judge during execution for this whole thing. That sucks to play in your game, bro. God forbid maybe my internet was out or like my power was out and I wasn't able to text you fast enough. A good example in the RPG horror story that we talked about in the other server with lower DM basically saying, oh, I know you had like family issues, but it makes the server look bad because he didn't think a family emergency was a good enough reason. I ain't taking that anymore. 15. If you get too stoned or drunk to play, I will go home without a warning. Your warning is he yeah, some people get rambunctious at like, you know, drinking or like, it's like you can't even have a little bit of fun. We got to make sure we control the amount of fun. We can only have enough amount of fun and not too much fun before somebody will just straight up go home without a warning. This person sounds like they'll be terrible to be around. You gotta be like walking on eggshells, doing little, maybe if you laugh too hard or laugh too much, don't say too many skibbity toilet jokes, and suddenly they'll just stand up and go home without a warning. 16. If you get up for bong or smoke or whatever break every 10 minutes, I would simply pack up and go home. I'm sick of waiting for every bloke to be at the table. If somebody is doing that to you, like actively doing, okay, let's put it in realistically. If somebody is doing that to you every 10 minutes, it sounds like the problem isn't that you need to just pack up and go home. It sounds like you need to ask the guy, hey, stop doing that, or you out of my game, because I'm tired of you constantly standing up every 10 minutes or whatever. Guidance, divination spells, owls, and whatever spells I decide are too freaking stupid are banned. Outright. No more freaking guidance. Guidance killed his family. I get guidance can be a cantrip that people sometimes overuse, like, you know, hey, roll a skill check. Could I use guidance? So it really depends. If you're aware of what you're doing, I guess so. But I mean, all you could just say is that, hey, guidance is banned at the table. And that's it, and just not worry about it. You don't have to be so heavy-handed with it, right? Like, it sounds like he's really offended over guidance and divination spells. What divination spells hurt you? What, detect magic? Detect evil and good? Comprehend languages? Is that the issue?
Speak with animals, yeah!
Speak with animals? Like, these are fun to use. If anything, I think it's great for when players use it because it gives a lot of RP opportunities for players to engage in that sort of thing. If you can't use divination spells, then how are you supposed to detect magic, detect poison and disease, detect evil and good, comprehend languages, or speak with animals? What's so... I mean, maybe I just don't understand. Maybe I don't have enough experience. I only played for about 3.5 years. 18. You get one chance at a skill check. If you mess up, your party doesn't get their chance to do the same check. Think careful who's good at what. Oh, this is awful. This is a terrible thing to do. You know what this is gonna do? It's only gonna encourage you players that aren't a dexterity-based rogue with really good stealth expertise and sleight of hand expertise to never roll stealth. Or somebody who's not a wisdom caster that has proficiency in perception to ever roll perception. Or somebody who's not a strength based with athletics proficiency to ever roll athletics. Let players roll other skill checks and give a try at trying to achieve something. If you only allow rogue to do only stealth related things or investigation related things or sleight of hand related things, you know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get the same boiler thing going on from Rogue, as Rogue rolls stealth yet again with expertise and gets a 35 on a stealth check, and nobody else can do anything about it or even participate. So only Rogue can do the stealthy stuff without anybody else even getting a chance to. Let players roll other skill checks. Let them roll it. Because even if they might not be good as other characters are, they still have a chance of pulling off something cool. And that makes the story fun. When somebody who's not an expert in persuasion, deception, perception, investigation pulls off something really cool, and the player character and the player gets rewarded for doing well. But also it's fun to watch people sometimes not do as well and see what the consequences of their actions bring to them and how that changes the story. 19. Discussion of metagame details in-game will result in instant damage to your character. Oh my god. 20. Rules lowering fellow players is encouraged. Actually me will just result in me telling you to frick off. Oh, rules for thee, but not for me. Right, that's the thing we're going with. You are allowed to rules lower at actually other players, but you can't actually me. And you can frick off with that. Oh, wow. Look at the prima donna over here, making the rules that affect everybody else but themselves. What a special little butterfly you are.
I've got an anime on my side.
And I demand that you will never correct me or do actually on me.
Actually, the banana was not put in the butt. It was something else.
Why are you bringing up the banana?
I don't know. I got a banana stuck in my brain. I don't know.
I think you got a banana stuck in your butt. 21. You roll your dice within the view of two players who aren't you standard, whatever that means. You roll them neatly and you roll them on the table. Failing to do these three things will auto-fail whatever roll you did. Arguing that you actually roll validly when you clearly didn't is an automatic critical fail. Oh, now we're bringing in skill checks on how well you can roll freaking dice. So if you're rolling correctly, that's a critical fail. Who hurt you, DM? 22. Instant death traps and mechanics are coming into place. If you call these things unfair moving forward, I will laugh at you and tell you to freak off and cry some more. You know what this sounds like? Somebody? This sounds like somebody that just wants to see people have a horrible time. They're not there to play with other players. They're there to set people up with that gotcha moment. Ahaha, you step on a pressure plate, you instantly die. Ahaha, gotcha. Just to get people fuming and basically say, I will laugh at you and tell you to freak off and cry some more. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll play with like really crappy people. I have no idea. But if you do this to like a regular group of people that just want to roll some funny math rocks and roleplay their characters and see if they get a critter or a fail, this is such a toxic way to look at people. It's just so ass. If you insta-kill somebody, then they don't get to do anything at the table. They basically have to sit around, twiddle their thumbs around. You know, you ruined the experience for the one player that doesn't get to participate in anything.
Like, if there's a trap, let your players try and find a way out of it, or have other people, like, close by be able to help out too. Like, don't just like, oh, you stepped in a trap, you did.
23. I will not give you random magical items and vendors will not stock them. They are meant to be rare and hard to acquire. I understand if you want your world to have magical items that feel rare and feel very difficult to find. Completely understand. Maybe you can have a few, you know, for a nice value price, you know, something that hikes up the price value. Maybe a peddling vendor, I don't know. Sounds like somebody that really doesn't like the idea of giving no players magical items and want them to quote-unquote earn it. But you also have to quote-unquote earn it while dealing with instant death traps on all the other nonsense from the other posts. We got up to number 23. And before you can get to number 23 and complain about vendors not having any magical items, you got to get through the 22 other bullshit posts. Like, seriously. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road trader or band of goblin prostitutes isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. This DM is giving me a perfect advertisement for Baldur's Gate 3. For real, honestly. You know what? Actually, not even Baldur's Gate 3. Hey, you know, we should introduce to our server dragons and mysterious road traders and band of goblin prostitutes. I'm down for that. Let's open a goblin brothel. Let's just have just a bunch of goblin prostitutes walking around trying to set up a goblin brothel and have side quests related to that. I think that's a perfect idea. That sounds excellent. That sounds way more fun than playing with this DM at least. 25. I don't give two F's what Reddit said about X or Y ruling. That's fine. Not everybody on Reddit is right, or on Twitter, or not everybody online is going to be right, and that's completely fine. This one over here, the 25, if it was by itself, like out of like couple of three like decent ones, probably would have been fine. But like after layering all of this, 25 just feels so mild. I need something a little more chaotic. Come on, number 26 gotta hit me with something great. 26. I actually give less of a frick about what your mate's D&D group did. If your players are talking about other D&D groups, it's probably because they're trying to convince you, hey, could we maybe be a little bit like these guys? Because they're probably having more fun than in your group, DM. Good lord. I think your players are trying to hint towards it. Maybe like, hey, my buddy had this cool thing where they did encounter a band of goblin prostitutes. It was actually really fun. Boy, DM, I would love to do that. 27. Saying anything to me about other players not liking me doing X or Y without them saying it directly to me result in me kicking you out of the group. Don't use someone else to push your own agenda.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, because God forbid you talk about how other players feel your DMing style sucks or anything, but you're gonna get kicked out for that sort of thing.
I feel kind of bad because what if it's like someone who can't stick up for themselves, like someone who's shy and like doesn't want to say anything, so one of their friends like kind of sticks up for them and tells them, and then they get kicked out because maybe they had friends that were playing.
28. You're not to sit down and have a 2-hour discussion about what Samson from Bondora has secondary did 3 weeks ago when you come to play. Take the 15 and 20 minutes I used to set up and review my notes or talk to each other, then sit down to play. This is not like a rules. These are expectations that players need to know by heart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they get kicked out and removed. And unless you can read the DM's mind and read this ahead of time and memorize these rules verbatim, then you're just not going to have a good time because the DM is going to make sure you have hell for this session.
One of those like Dom Daddy vibes, you know, the guys or something
Wait,
that are
hold on, what?
like, you know how, like, what is it called where the guys
Do you
are
have
like,
experience
oh,
with Dom Daddy vibes?
no. I mean, I could be one. That like, I've seen a lot of stuff
Very
on
certain
it.
who
But
Dom Daddy are.
you know, the guys or like there's some girls are like that. They like basically make them do whatever they say. Like they want to be in charge of someone. I feel like,
yeah.
I feel like this guy
Alpha,
just wants to
sigmas,
be
and
the
ligmas,
alpha.
yeah.
'Cause it just looks like he just wants his way, no one else's. Doesn't want to hear anyone talk, just his own voice, like his own rules, his own
way
stuff.
or the highway,
Exactly.
Buckaroo. 29. Saying crap like, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun. We're here to play D&D. This is serious business. Is rude and dismissive of how much work I put into this. I will simply go home if I hear this crap. You could work super hard into something, put a lot of work into it, but if it's crap at the end of the day and it turns to a crap boring session where everybody feels uncomfortable, then you just put a lot of work into making a crap boring session where nobody feels comfortable or welcome. Put in work into things where you can make players feel good at the table, not make them feel constricted and constrained and constantly under pressure. There's another great saying out there. It's called don't work hard, work smart. If you want your players to have fun, work smart and set up best ways for them to have fun without having to put an extreme amount of work into creating this nightmare torture of a game. Because I don't think anybody is having fun at this game, to be honest.
I just read 30 and I feel like you would hate that because it makes you
30. Don't order food randomly. We'll eat together at a specific time or not at all. I don't want food crap all over my thing. This guy wants to control people's time, people's patience, people's magic items, people's eating habits and hunger. Oh my god. What doesn't this DM want to control? 31. No food or drinks near any of my D&D gear. If you wreck something, you can pay for it. I let one person trash my DM screen once and I never had it replaced by them. In fact, I had that person attempt to gaslight me into believing they didn't wreck my crap at all. I'm not stupid. You're an adult. Accept responsibility. I find it hilarious how this person writes 30 different things sounding like an angry toddler and then has the audacity to put down 31 and say that other people are adult and they should accept responsibility and act like adults and stuff. But then to include it into part of the rules when it seems like an isolated incident, it just makes no sense. If it was one person that did it, then obviously that person's fault. It's not everybody else's fault for this. And yeah, probably shouldn't lend your DM screen to somebody if you don't want them to wreck it. I understand some people can be a little bit like, you know, not careful with stuff, and that's completely that's a problem for sure. If it's like somebody that is just so hurt, but instead of going to like vent to somebody and actually having like some sort of productive conversation, they decided to just write these bulletin points of anger and upset and just being angry at everybody else around it because it's everyone's fault by themselves. And yeah, while some things can probably be valid, like wrecking someone's property and things for D&D gear, to boil it down with everything else, it just raises the absurdity level. 32. Arguments between party members outside of roleplay will be resolved by me given a definite ruling. If you don't like it, frick off back home.
I mean, I can understand if there's like an argument between people, you wouldn't want that.
Yeah, but hey, I'm gonna pull the DM says, you're an adult.
Yeah.
Just communicate with them like adults, DM. 33. I don't give a frick what they did in Critical Role or what that other guy on Reddit said, or if you think that it's all make-believe so you can do what you want. The world I run works on internal rulings and lore are created specifically for it. If this was by itself, posted by itself, I probably would agree with it, to be honest. Because I mean, there's nothing he said is wrong. Everyone's world's gonna be different. Everyone's D&D game is not gonna be Critical Role, what some other guy on Reddit did, or whatever have you. Sometimes having rules and having things be done a specific way makes it fun, makes it enjoyable. makes it meaningful. There is sanity in some of this insane rambling. I just wish he would have collected himself, took a deep breath, and actually put together like a few of these things together that sound reasonable instead of this 44 post mess. 34. Every single person in this chat is having debuffs applied to their characters that should have occurred a long time ago. This would be specific to characters. Retroactively punishing your players for something that happened in the past that you just forgot to rule on sounds a little bit strange to do. If it's fine to introduce some brand new as long as your table is cool with it and perfectly fine with running it, but to retroactively punish players for something happened in the past that has gone by, like bygones be bygones, it just seems a little bit silly. 35. If you don't bring your sheet, you don't play. But what if I bring a digital sheet? Is that okay? Or does it have to be like a paper sheet?
Or if your friend has an extra. Or if you have an extra. He's gotta have some sheets.
36. If you don't bring dice, borrow some. See, like I said, in this rambling mess, there are some rules that seem extremely normal and sane. But like in this giant cacophony of insane ramblings and angry postings and angry listings, it just seems so crazy, you know? 37. When we play D&D, I'm not your friend. That doesn't mean you treat me like an enemy during the game. It means I am no longer, quote unquote, being nice.
Mr. Nice Guy.
This is the most, like, see, it just immediately flips from something reasonable and normal to just unhinged ranting because it just comes from a dark, deep hatred place. You can still be a friend and be DMing and just be fair with your rulings. Doesn't mean you don't have to not be a friend at the table. If anything, it's gonna just give people animosity and like resentment towards you because suddenly you just become a complete and utter asshole at the table whenever you take on the DM role. I got more experience, not D&D related, but I had people that I was in Boy Scouts with, a couple of cool dudes, and they were fine as long as they never got leadership positions. As soon as they had leadership positions, it was like a power trip where they just ordered people around and expected everybody to do their bidding and do the whim because they were the ones on like a higher totem pole position or whatever the hell. If you can't be a friend while DMing, then what are you then? What are you then? A stranger? Stranger I don't want to have at the table, that's for sure. That's 100% for sure. 38. If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form after or during or before the game due to something that happened in the game, you're out. If you cannot separate a game from reality, I think you're a freaking moron and have little time to deal with that energy. Right after posting that when we play D&D, I'm not your friend or no longer being nice. Dude, you're setting yourself up for animosity and resentment. Who hurt you? Who hurt you so badly? 39. You will submit your spell lists daily in game. If you do not give me a spell list each in-game day, you will not be allowed to cast a single spell or cantrip in combat. I do not trust you guys to not use this against me.
I don't know how he's still got people if people are reading these. It's like how...
Oh, he 100% doesn't have people anymore. I mean, if somebody made it all the way through until 39 and still thinks that's kind of reasonable, then power to you. I wish you find somebody that also finds these rules, quote unquote, reasonable in a sense of the word. But anybody would see this and be like, yo, this is way too much. Like if somebody's cheating and like just preparing a bunch of spells when they shouldn't be, yeah, obviously it's the one player, kick him out. But like, I don't think everybody at the team is going to be doing that sort of thing.
I mean, like, it could happen when he's been through every single one of these, like, situations, but, like, have all this and be so angry about everything. This person must have suffered through every single RPG horror that you could go through. Like, the way he's writing it just sounds so passionate about it. It was just so done with everything. Like, he must have been through hell and back.
They went through literal hell and back through all, like, what, 7, 8, 9, however many levels of hell. They've seen they met a fucking Asmodeus before they came back to the mortal coil. They've been through this. They're a freaking D&D war veteran or some shit.
If he's this bad, I'm scared to see what the group was like that made him turn into this.
I mean, that could be always a possibility. Could be that he just been in a really terrible group that he honestly should not be with anymore. He should probably just straight up leave. Or maybe he's just letting a couple of pet peeves basically ruin and create this animosity and basically create this giant list of stuff, basically just spewing it out. I don't know what the backstory is, but it just sounds so deranged to put together. This is clearly written from place of anger, not from place of like feedback or something. 40. If you do not mark off spell slots or you say something like, I remember what I'm at as a way to justify it, I will simply fail your spell. Deal half your health in damage to you and say you have no spells to cast for the rest of the day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
41. If you break literally anything, you can buy the replacement that day or not attend till you're due.
I mean, that's understandable if they break something, but if it's an accident, I don't really do anything about it. If it's on purpose, then that one's not as bad as the other ones, though.
42. If you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring the whole playlist the next session or to shut the frick up. Talk to the players, decide together at the table as a group what sort of music you want to listen to. They brought the music. Somebody said, hey, could we get some, newer tracks, maybe play something else? And then he immediately says, if you want new music, you bring the whole playlist yourself next time or just shut up. 43. Cannot stress enough how little I care about how you feel about my rulings from now on. Somebody who never takes feedback or can take constructive feedback in like a reasonable manner, like an adult. This is a character that basically says it's my way, the highway, and everything else, it's invalid. Oh, and rule 44, I'm never just threatening you. I am promising.
Jesus Christ.
I imagine it's some smug bastard that's like tries to sound like a complete utter badass Chad Alpha when he says that last part, right? It's like when a teacher starts being serious, I'm never just threatening you. I am promising you. All right, Shadow the Hedgehog. Ow, the fucking edge. God damn, cut my little pinky finger.
I don't know, it just sounds like they should just take a break from D&D for a bit.
It sounds like if they have so many issues, these are the 44 reasons why this person probably shouldn't be DMing and should probably just like take an extra long hiatus, not think about D&D, or maybe not play with the people they're playing with. There's a person that needs another hiatus, 100%. They just got a weird impromptu video. This is honestly really fun. Let us know what you think about this in the comment section below. Maybe Mary and I will drag Micah over for some more these absurd readings of crazy stuff people put out there online. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. If you like what you see here, consider subscribing to Tales Tomorrow. Thank you, Mary, so much for joining me here.
I'm probably gonna go to bed after this. Literally, my eyes, I haven't been able to focus on the writing at all for the past like 10 minutes.
Everybody wish Mary good night. Good night, Mary. Sleep well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.